call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka? Councilman Camilleri?
Here.
Councilwoman D'Arminio?
Here.
Councilman Accomando is unable to attend tonight's meeting, and Council President Mazur.
Here. Please rise for the salute to the flag. I'm going to ask for a special, if you could please remain standing for a silent prayer. Ask God's blessing to the children, whether they be at home, in the school, or on the playing field. After light, what's happening, especially this past week, we just ask that God please watch over them. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members on September 25th, 2015, and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
At this time, I would like to suspend the order of our meeting, and I'd like to present this resolution to our Saddlebrook chapter of Unico. But first. Joe, would you please come up?
Flo, get the mic. Flo, get the mic. The mic.
Okay. It's on? We're good? Okay. It's a resolution introduced by myself. It says, whereas October is Italian Heritage and Culture Month, whereas we take this opportunity to recognize the many contributions made by Italian Americans throughout the United States, New Jersey, and especially here in Saddlebrook. And whereas, in particular, we honor the commitment of the Saddlebrook chapter of Unico National to our community by supporting programs including teaching Italian in our schools, Saddlebrook's first street fair, which we hope to pull it off, the Township's annual picnic, awarding scholarships, supporting cases such as Jimmy V, Cooley's Anemia, St. Jude, mental health programs, and anti-bias programs, and installing benches in Unico Park. And whereas members of the Saddlebrook chapter of Unico have gone on to serve as Unico District Governor, we have Mr. Nasello standing right here, District Governor, and Unico National President, as well as receiving numerous honors and recognition. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the Saddlebrook chapter of Unico is commended for faithfully following the Unico motto, service above self, and recognized for service to our community as we celebrate Italian Heritage and Culture Month. Congratulations, and thank you so very much for all you do for our community. We are so very proud.
Yes, Flo, Council President, Unico member, council members, mayor, and the town really for helping us do all that we do and supporting us in our endeavors. We're really very grateful to you. We are very hopeful as well that we pull off good weather on Sunday for our second annual street fair. And we're looking forward to, as we say, continuing everything that we're able to do because of the support of everyone like you. Thank you for the recognition, for acknowledging Italian Heritage and Cultural Month, and God bless everybody.
First of all, Flo, thank you very much. As the first president of the local chapters, as for woman and woman, and Maryland's the third, past president, governor now of the district representing 8 chapters. Thank you very much with this honor. We really appreciate it, and I'll see you on Sunday.
Just a quick story I'd like to share with you guys. My first meeting as president of Unico, I figured, well, it was a celebration. I brought a box of Joe, which was caffeine. It was regular coffee. And that night we had such a disagreement. Everybody must have been all pumped up from the caffeine that I decided never again. It would be decaf. But anyway, tonight there's a box of decaf out there, and there's some pastries, because us Italians, we get together, we need food. But thank you once again, and I'm so very proud to be part of your organization. It's awesome, awesome.
Thank you again.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Good.
Flo, I have one too.
I'm sorry?
I have one. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Council President, for that resolution. I too want to acknowledge that October is Italian-American Cultural and Heritage Month. We have members here tonight, obviously from Unico, and I'm praying along with you that the weather's going to be good for the street fair on Sunday. I do have a proclamation that was received and filed by the clerk. I am going to be issuing or presenting, I should say, that proclamation on October 10th, when Unico was graciously invited me to attend at Welcome Road at the Unico Park there. So with that being said, congratulations and good luck for Sunday. Also, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So in recognition of breast cancer awareness, I want to take a moment to acknowledge those individuals that are affected by the disease and those who participate in the fight against breast cancer. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is an annual international campaign by breast cancer charities to increase awareness of breast cancer and raise funds for research and to remind women worldwide of the importance of early detection and screening. So I just want to read this proclamation. I'm going to need my glasses. There we go. In observance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, whereas October 2015 is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month and is a platform for educating women about the importance of early detection, and whereas through research, advocacy, and early detection, significant advances have been made in the fight against breast cancer, and whereas a variety of public and private organizations and agencies provide care, support, or services to anyone in any capacity who is affected by breast cancer, and whereas breast cancer survivors are a testament to resilience of the promotion of awareness and the following recommended screening guidelines. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Robert D. White, Mayor of the Township of Saddlebrook, do hereby proclaim to recognize the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, encourage our residents to become educated and informed about programs and services that offer early detection, and to also celebrate the survivors and memorialize those who have lost their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. This time I ask for a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's now open to the public. Anyone wishing to be heard, please come to the podium, state your name and address.
This on?
Yes.
It's on? Thank you.
Marilyn Nacella, 152 Claremont Avenue. Again, thank you for the recognition and the proclamation that's coming, and we're looking forward to having you join us as we do our Columbus Day ceremony on October 10th by the gazebo. As stated, this coming Sunday is the street fair. We're all hoping for good weather. It is a rain or shine event, so hopefully we'll have more shine than we will have rain. But I'd be remiss if I didn't really take this opportunity to thank, on behalf of Saddlebrook Unico, some key sponsors that are helping us with respect to this event. And they include local as well as neighboring vendors and companies. We have TLC Plus Child Care and Preschool, the VFW of Saddlebrook, the Kochia Foundation, Boiling Springs Bank, Brian Anthony Landscaping and Design, ERA Nalval Dion Realty. I probably screwed up this pronunciation of that, I apologize. Saddlebrook Diner, the ShopRite of Rochelle Park, Spencer Savings Bank, Robert Triano, the accounting and CPA in town, Verizon Wire Fios, as well as Costco. And again, I'd like to formally and publicly thank all of them for their sponsorship in helping us pull off this event, and look forward to it. And again, thank you, council and mayor and town, for supporting Unico.
You're welcome. Thank you, Marilyn. Anyone else?
Larry Tychek, 92 Claremont. On Tuesday night, there was, you had a list of roads that we were going to pave and repave, and I believe it was Cambridge Ave was one of the roads, and you said you were going to go from Rugby to Saddle River Road. Is there any reason why you're not doing the lower end? I know you did a water project there, and there's about another 75 yards, and that block would be completely done. Compared to the engineer?
I think what happened was the engineer, we were talking about DOT grant applications, and if you're near a school, you're near certain locations, you get points for applying for the DOT grants. The suggestion had come up about doing Cambridge Avenue, but in speaking, and we're going to bring this up a little later, speaking to the engineer, I believe his suggestion is going to be to do Caldwell Avenue, because it intersects with Market Street, Franklin School is there, and it probably would be looked more favorably by the DOT as a valid application. But this is for the DOT application.
Okay, so Cambridge is not on the list then.
The recommendation is going to be to go with Caldwell.
Do you have that list of the streets that the town will be doing? I know you said you had a list of them, that you, the ones that needed to be done.
Well, we had a list when we first started,
Right.
and those plans are almost done. It was 9th, 3rd, and Wilson were 3 roads that were put in. We're also going to do Jefferson, and in the Jefferson job, there is an alternate for 4th, depending on how the bids come in. And those were based upon, basically Jefferson and 4th were because there's a water main issue there. PSE&G just tore up Jefferson, so we're getting funds from them to do that paving. And the others were just based upon roads that were chosen as far as the condition of them,
okay,
and the condition of the water main.
Okay. The next thing, did we hear anything yet on the senior housing money for Caldwell Ave?
Yes. I spoke to John Bialy just a couple days ago. The financing should be in place in 2 weeks, the second week of October. Everything was submitted. He's looking for it to be finalized the second week, and he is going to let me know as soon as it's
Okay,
done.
so November, we should know which way we're.
November, by the November meeting, yes.
Okay. This is through the chair to Mr. Simaluka. Last month you made, you read your letter and stuff like that, and then you described certain things that happened with the health benefits and stuff like that. And I don't believe that you had all the facts correct when you stated your facts. The petition was put in place to let the public, let the decide on whether the town pays for the benefits or not. We weren't taking the benefits or trying to take the benefits away. It was a petition to put it on the ballot. And then you took an ordinance, which I still have yet to see, and amended it. So if you can produce the ordinance, and then, you know, you have something to amend, but I don't really know what you amended, because, you know, you're hung up on this nepotism thing, which you said you were mad because it wasn't voted on. Like Mr. Camilleri told you, it was voted on 2 times, and it was turned down 2 times. We don't even mention that after you amended that ordinance and squashed the petition. You didn't mention that. But like I said, I believe that the people in this town realize what's right and what's wrong from our past election. You don't see them 3 people sitting up there. And like I say, what you did is you tailor-made for your needs, like I told you last month. And like I say, people don't forget. They don't forget. And like I say, the same thing with the nepotism. The mayor said he would have an executive order, and you're trying to challenge him with the council, saying that you're going to, can we overturn him, or what is his punishment if he violates it? I guess the form of government, he's the mayor. He's the top dog. And if he has an executive order, it stays. And like he said, he would make a fool out of himself if he went against it. So like he said, when he ran for election, he said he'd be upfront, he'd be honest, and so far I believe he's come through with all of his things. The other thing was the tax appeals. You told us that you left the town in good financial status. Were you aware of that tax appeal and any other tax appeals when you voted on your 0% budget through the chair, Mr. Samaluka? Of the tax appeals that were sitting, the $750,000 one that we have, and I believe there's 2 other larger ones.
I believe the tax appeal issue was discussed at the end of the year. And again, we're going back almost a year ago. And I believe it was felt by everybody that that is something that whether or not to settle, whether or not to fight it, would be something that was left, that should be left to the incoming council, because it would not be fair to saddle anyone with a decision made by basic lame ducks. I believe that there was, that was spoken about, it may have been, and I think it was after the actual election. So the sitting mayor and 2 sitting council people were obviously not being reelected. They were not going to be in office in 2015 and thereafter. And I believe that was the decision, was that it was in fairness to the new incoming council to make them have the decision as to whether or not to continue to fight. I mean, this was a settlement, and the settlement was agreed upon by this current makeup of council. And my recollection is that it was decided to allow the new makeup of council to determine where to go with that appeal. We knew there was an appeal, but I don't think there was an actual settlement offer on the table at that time.
I just wish you people would have thought the same way when you decided to rush and do Veterans Field and drop it on the lap of the incoming council people and mayor. That wasn't an issue, or that wasn't a problem. See, things only become issues when they work out for you. Also on the nepotism, when a former councilman's son was hired, how did you feel about nepotism then? Mr. Samaluka?
At that time,
Yeah.
when Mr. Conti, we don't have to, can I say his name? I did already, so I said it. So
No, well,
when,
you
yeah,
want me to-
yeah, sure.
Well, the legal advice, I'll just give to Mr. Simaluka. would be just that you discuss what, you know, your opinion is with regard to, you know, nepotism at that time, but not to discuss a particular employee in any way
Sure.
that the discussion would adversely
Okay.
impact his employment, otherwise he needs a rights notice.
Honestly, at that time,
I'm sorry.
with that particular employee who was being paid much less than his value, and actually he, to this day.
No.
I
You're
believe.
jumping.
Can I?
We didn't
can I-
hire him yet.
Can I
I'm
talk?
saying, what? how
Am I
did you
allowed to
feel?
talk?
Yeah, you can, but you're jumping the gun. I didn't say anything about his salary yet.
Oh, yeah,
That's-
but,
That's
okay.
second phase. I want to know how you felt about it when his name came up to be hired.
I thought he was qualified, and I thought he was an appropriate pick. After that, and after you came up for 4 years and made it an issue, I, at that point, realized that doing that may have been something that would put him, and not so much the town, because I think he's done a hell of a job, but to have someone's qualifications, to have someone questioned, and have his parents questioned, and have council members questions as to their integrity because someone was hired, I believe that it became an issue. And I think the only way to stop that from happening, I mean, you were the one who came up here for 4 years and were complaining about it. So in order to do that, I said, you know what? Let's not put another person either on the council or as department head or division head in that position. Let's not put an employee in that position where there's being spoken about at public meetings, which is being broadcast to 40 towns or thereabouts. So let's do it. And I saw you dancing in all these photographs and videos with the Democrats. That was their platform. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go along with that, and we're going to pursue that. And that's why I am pursuing the nepotism ordinance after the fallout from that hire and seeing what it's done to a sitting council member and to a town employee. I don't think it was fair to either of them. And so this way, no one else can be in that position. I do think that what is proposed and what the mayor, you were here on Tuesday, and obviously you misconstrued what I was talking about. I just needed to know the legal ramifications, what the council could do. I'm in favor of what the mayor did. That executive order, I think, basically, that executive order is word for word the ordinance that I proposed. So he put in terms of an executive order, and I will speak later on as to why I don't think an executive order for that nepotism ordinance is, I don't want to say appropriate, but I don't think it's enough. I think that it should be in ordinance form, and I'll give my explanation of that later.
So in other words, if you changed your mind after it was brought to your attention, maybe you'll feel the same way about your benefits, because we've been up here for 8 years now. So that was only 4 years that we were on that subject, but maybe it'll hit home with you.
In your opinion, I don't deserve benefits. When I was elected, benefits were offered. Never said I wasn't taking them. I do take them. I've never said
But we
anything
don't have an
to the
ordinance
contrary.
in place to take
We
it.
do have it. We do have an ordinance in it.
No, we don't.
We do.
Prior to the one you amended, we do
We
not. We never seen it. Pete, did you ever find it? Through the chair?
Prior to the 2011, 2012.
No.
The ordinance that was amended was the ordinance that your petition proposed.
Okay.
That's what was amended.
You know what, Mr. Simaluka, the last 4 years, you people kind of did what you wanted because you had the majority there, and anything went with you. Same thing went, I'm not going to mention names, the DPW employee, when I brought the contract here, and I show you the contract was revised. He was never a member of the DPW. I still have the contract. It says right on it, revised, and that didn't mean anything. But like I say, it'll all come out in the wash, believe me, it will. You know, time will heal everything. With as far as the veterans field, I still believe that we need a drawing or some kind of plans so that we can move forward. I mean, Mr. Simaluka thought it was fine to send out refreshment stands and bathrooms, approximately over $1 million to bid. Now, everybody up there knows we can't afford that, and we don't have that money allocated. So why would you even think of that issue or entertain that issue? So we can look at the plan and say, oh, this is beautiful, but unfortunately I can't afford it. So we would just waste time, money, and everything else. Like I say, we still, till today, we still don't have a drawing or a concept, so we can sit down with the engineer, show him what we want here, what we want there, and then give him the numbers that you have and see what he can fit in there. But we gotta start somewhere. You have to put a foundation down. I mean, there's people in Washington Township now building a field. I guarantee you, they have a set of plans. I guarantee you, and they have a plan, and they know what it's gonna cost. But we can talk about, you know, Todd going out, getting bathrooms, and Joe doing this, and Joe doing, it's not getting done, guys. And I mean, Mr. Simaluka is worried about starting it now in November, but last year when I brought it up about starting the field in November, the weather wasn't an issue. Now all of a sudden we have to worry about snow and everything else like that. So you contradict yourself on, you know, whatever fits your needs. Like last year the weather wasn't a problem. This year the weather is a problem. You know, we got to start somewhere. The other thing, like I say, I don't know if it can happen, but I mean, we should show our whatever to the high school. If we do have, I don't know if it can happen, if we do have bad weather, and I know it's a very important game for them to play, and the high school field can't take water. I mean, we have a brand new facility here. Both teams are 3-0. I mean, if you offer it to them, or I don't know if it can be done, but I mean, it would be a nice gesture to them, and you know, it wouldn't be a bay of pigs, and we wouldn't ruin the high school field for the rest of the year. Because it only takes one game in mud, and the field's ruined for the year. I mean, that's what we have. They're Saddlebrook residents, they're Saddlebrook kids, we're Saddlebrook people. It should be for everybody to use, and it's a time of need right now with the weather. Unless they postpone the game, but I don't think they should play at the high school. Not when you have a brand new field sitting there. I think that would be a good gesture on our part, and, you know, to extend our fields to them, and maybe we can get that relationship working the way it should, and the way it should work in other towns. Let's see. The other thing, like I say, with the questioning of the bills. I mean, I've been coming to meetings for years, and I've never heard a bill questioned. Never, only from on this side of the stand. Someone questioned like 4 bills this past work session. I mean, if you did that 4 years ago, maybe we'd have a little money left in the kitty. But, you know, that all expired, that money, and now all of a sudden we're going to micromanage this guy here. You know, we didn't do anything for 4 years, so I don't see why we would start it now. You know what I mean? The good old days are over. But like I say, that's all I have to say. But I mean, I think it's really important, and would be a good gesture on our part. I don't know if the mayor would do that, or the council, whoever would do that, to offer it to the high school. Okay, thank you.
Have to have some respect. Next time I hear from this person, I'm gonna go off, I'm gonna defend myself, and I don't care her mental stability or not. Enough is enough. They gotta respect. Good evening. Omar Rodriguez, 275 Madison Avenue, 8 years councilman, 4 times council president. Before I start, I just would like to not rehash, but just briefly touch a couple of points that Councilman Similuka just touched, and I'm not going to go into details. One of the former elected officials, relative, when they were hired, it was thanks to the people's questions that it was properly done, because at the very beginning, it was improperly, the hiring. It was after questioning that it was advertised actually after the employee start working. A lot of other people that apply for that job were told there was an entry level, that it was going to be no pay raises for a long time, which it turned out to be untrue. So it helps when people question. So then the process were amended, and the person is still continue working. In regards to the health benefits, actually, the committee was looking to us, the residents, for signatures in order to put it as a way of referendum, to put it in the ballot, and to ask the residents if it's fair for the taxpayers to pay for the health benefits of elected officials that at this moment is costing close to $30,000 a year. In return, if the people would say no, if the referendum would have gone, one of the suggestions would be maybe to pay $10,000, $15,000 a stipend instead of paying for the health benefits to the elected officials. But then it didn't go through. It's just to clarify, I'm not planning to go into debate whether it's debatable or not at this moment. It's been a while. I'm not going into that, but I just want to clarify what just Councilman Simluca just mentioned, the prior speaker here. By the way, what you just were saying, dancing with the Democrats. Through the chair, I don't think that is proper. Right here, we're not here to put one party or the other. Right here, we're going to be here to just address overall issues. And unfortunately, I don't think that is the proper venue right here. And all I can assure you, if we're going to go to Democrats, is that Councilman Similuca is not going to be a Democrat, at least until after December 31st, 2016. Not under my watch. And he knows what I mean. So then I go with my business. I don't know if it's proper or not, but I've been asking for a few months about information between the relationship, business relationship between Councilman Similuca and the prior township engineer. And finally, I have the chance. They provide me with the tapes yesterday. So I listened to the tapes. And prior engineer were appointed 5 years ago. But on May 2012, oh, by the way, before I even ask, through the chair, if I may, before I even continue, if I can just ask Councilman Similuca, he doesn't have to respond for how long he's been in a business relationship with the prior township engineer. If I don't get an answer, that's fine too.
I don't recall the first case that I've handled for him, but probably, I'd say 2009, 2010, something thereabouts.
All right, that's good to know. So it hasn't been continued, so you're not working with him no more?
Well, it's only so much I can say. I currently have one active file where I do collection work. He sends a bill, he doesn't get paid. If he doesn't get paid and can't work it out with them, I have filed suit on his behalf, on behalf of his corporation, and we've been very successful.
All right, that's good to know. The only reason, Councilman Simluca, I just brought this up because I believe that the people just need to know, and I don't think that is nothing shady, and that's what I ask you openly right here that I was just going to research. But the comments that you made when you were not voting on the bill for the engineer was that you had, on May 2012, at the public council meeting, you said, I have passed business relationship. That's why I'm not going to vote on the bills. That was on May of 2012. So basically, that didn't say much. And that was the reason why I was trying to research a little bit more into that. And moving into that one, Veterans Field, I haven't heard anything again on my proposal that I was trying to come forward using, of course, the services all the times of the engineer of the town, and trying to put a group of professionals like carpenters, masons, and all kind of electricians to try to do what it need to be done at Veterans Field, but I haven't heard anything for good or bad. I don't know, it's just because it's me that is proposing it, that it's not gonna fly, but it's a shame that we're still here when we were told last time that no matter what happened, those bathrooms were going to be there, and you have the money, and that the cost was not an issue. And sometimes before we made those statements, and especially taxpayers at home, we have to be careful, because when we express like that, people take it for granted. And the people that use the fields take it for granted. What can we tell them now? That there is no bathrooms. What can we tell them now that we didn't ask the proper questions at the proper time? What can we tell them now that we didn't know that it was going to cost close to $1 million? I don't know if the bathroom was going to have toilet golds or whatever, but I mean toilet made of gold or silver, I don't know. But the proper questions were not properly asked at the proper time. So I hope that this serves as an opportunity to not make the same mistake again. But I also see on the agenda for tonight, I see the salt shed. It's been on for many, many, many months. Winter is here. It's not gonna happen the way I see it. I don't wanna be negative, but I've been told a long time ago that this was going to be built. The reason the government exists is two different branches. Council members legislate and control the budget. Mayor do the day-to-day operations. So just a piece of advice to the mayor. I don't know, it's a lot of bickering. It's obvious that somehow nothing is being put forward because it's who's gonna do it, what is the cost. You know what? Whether it's $50,000, whether it's $300,000, whether it's $200,000, once they put the money, that's the time to move forward. But shouldn't be no more talk. It's a shame that winter is here and nothing is happening. So we need to have our own. We are depending in other towns. There is things that we should be moving forward. But if we can't do this, how can we move forward into other projects? One of the, I believe, immediate projects should be to locate parking spaces for the municipal offices. February is around the corner. The bar is going to be knocked down. There's not going to be no more parking. What are we doing about that? So those are the things that I believe that we should be looking forward, but we're still with the salt. Maybe we're going to discuss that in the summer next year. I don't know. But I don't want to just keep on going with this, but I believe that it should be more of thinking between the engineer, the attorney, in terms of there's easy to say who could do it, who cannot do it, but when it comes to safety, it might represent a big liability if we don't do it properly, and especially under state regulations. So let's just be careful on that. If we're gonna save a few dollars and somebody get hurt in the construction or something happen on the loading of or unloading of salt, we're gonna be liable. The township, especially taxpayers, will have to pay for it. So finally, I would like to just touch, before I go to my last point, on the cameras. I see cameras for Veterans Field. I don't know about the cost. It's nice that I was looking up there, but now I realize it's here, the paperwork, so I haven't had the chance to, for the cost. So, Council President, if I can just ask you, what is the cost for the cameras or the quote? Oh, the proposal?
The proposal came to $10,450.
Okay. It is, I guess it's nighttime vision, so it's gonna be
Yes.
good?
Yes.
All right, so just one more favor. If you can just, whoever's gonna install it, to try to use the poles, the lighting poles, because those are things that we're not gonna move it. If we put it any other place, we're gonna keep on moving because we don't know what any other additions or if any other type of work is gonna be done at the field. But then again, also it was a lot of talk if we're gonna open the field to the residents in the future, from what time to what time, if any, and if dogs are gonna be allowed. So those are things that, I don't know if he's still working on that, but I don't know if it has been done through legislation. But finally, I wanna touch about police overtime. I would like to touch on police overtime. I know that the police contract will be up next year. We can do something this year, but also for the contract for next year, there's a lot of points that we should take care. How could it be the Saddlebrook having one of the good pay police officers, or one of the best paid police officers? How come we are allowing to have captains doing detail? It's up to the council to regulate that through either contract is coming up next year. The things are going to be negotiated this year. It will be put in your hands next year, but that's something to consider. But I do not believe that just by getting roughly $140 an hour on off-duty captain for 8 or 12 hours that they work at $140, they make it an average of $225,000 a year. Oh, that's fine. PSCNG will pay. No, we pay. Do you think that PSCNG is going to lose money? They're not going to lose money. Taxpayers will pay it. So they're cashing in at a rate of $60,000 in overtime a year. What are we doing about that? We can do something. Because we are just charging a 20% administrative fee. But we got to be realistic. The administrative fee serves us to take care of the cars and a lot of things. Gas. But is it right to pay a captain? And by the way, I got nothing against the captains, but $225,000 a year is too much money. But why not to give it to the low-pay patrolman? It's getting paid $105. But we can regulate it if we want to through the council. We can put a rate, a flat rate. And guess who's going to take that job? The lower pay rank and file patrolman. But that's something that I believe you should be looking into. And I don't know at this moment, because it's a part of contract, I don't know if it comes through administration, because I don't think that they can do nothing, at least for now, unless they put an ordinance for a flat fee. But it's something that we should look into that we should prioritize and give them more to the. We got several new cops. Some of them are just making the minimum, but for someone that is making already a base salary of $175,000 an hour, and seeing a captain right there having a coffee, standing on South River Road to make $60,000 more in overtime a year, that's something that it should make us think a little better. Because guess what? In the future, when those jobs from private contractors or just to put an idea, PSCNG jobs are gone, everybody is going to count on that overtime because they're going to get used to that salary. And that is not the reality. At the end of the day, one way or the other, we, the taxpayers, are going to have to pay for that. So please take a serious consideration, but it should just be a unique or a flat fee in overtime when they're off duty. Thank you all for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez, while you're up there, I just got a question. The $60,000 figure that you referenced, where did you get that from?
Public records.
Okay, so
In the last 2 years, $700,000 has been paid in overtime to the police department.
in the last how many years?
Excuse me?
In the last how many years?
2 years.
So that's like 233?
Just not even finished 2 years because it was not even over. But if you look just into the any captain, the average what they're making is $225,000,
The average captain makes 225.
including the overtime.
Okay, you're not counting benefits with that, are you?
No, just the
Okay.
overtime.
All right, I'll check it out.
So check, and if you wish, I can just get some research and I'll try to share with you also.
That would be great.
But then,
Thank you.
yeah, but then again, that's something that you should look into that because again, we're not a rich town. They cannot claim that they're poor, but it's up to you, elected officials, to do something about that. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Anyone else wishing to be heard?
Maybe next year, please include Hispanic Heritage Month. It's 3,600 Latinos, Hispanics living in Saddlebrook. 1,400 of them are registered to vote. So please consider, para mis hermanos, feliz Día de la Raza y adelante.
Thank you.
Good evening. Len Azarone, 2-34, 34th Street, Barrel Lawn, New Jersey. I'd just like a quick clarification, and I'll leave here. It sounds to me like what I've heard so far is a partisan argument that I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. Mr. Samaluka has been getting beat up of late because of this health care. As far as I remember, he's not the only one that voted for that.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong in saying that there was also Mrs. Mazur and
Yes.
Mr. Camilleri? Were you, the three of you voted on that,
I
correct?
did.
You did?
No, Lenny, you got that wrong.
You
I
weren't
did
there.
not vote on it, no.
Okay, okay.
Well,
So,
that was enacted, I think, before Joe was on the council.
before,
Yes.
okay, okay. So, when the Democratic Club president comes up and wants to bash the Republican, I think it would be, for transparency's sake, to let it be known that both Mr. Samaluka and Mrs. Mazur would be entitled to anything that was done, not just Mr. Samaluka, correct?
Correct, and it's Ms. Mazur.
I'm sorry.
Signal.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I should know better. I really do apologize.
What's that? I'm sorry?
I said I should know better, and I apologize.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry. Okay.
That's
so,
why I have a single benefit plan also.
Okay.
That costs the town approximately I believe it's like $9,700 a year.
Right. I just wanted to be clear that it's not just the one man here that made this problem. It was a past council that made this problem. And I don't think it was coming across that way, and I just think for the benefit of all, they should realize it's not quite as it's being projected. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello?
Yeah.
Council, good evening. Mayor. Lenny, your address is where in Fairlawn? Through the chair,
But
whoever.
first-
I'd like to know.
First of all, did you state your name?
Howard
I'm sorry.
Kowalski, 520.
State your, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, and
I
please
would
come
like to
through,
know,
through me.
Council President, if that gentleman, Lenny, lives in Saddlebrook. I know he worked here for 30 years and did a great job, but does he live here? And my next question is, does he pay much attention to Fairlawn where he lives like he does to Saddlebrook?
He did stay at his residency. He
That
did,
was Fairlawn.
right. Fairlawn, yes.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of business here in Saddlebrook. I wonder if he has as much business in Fairlawn, where he lives. Good night.
Anyone else wishing to be heard? Motion to close?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Alrighty. Comments? Start with comments. Good, Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. Everybody's being very good tonight with the mics, so the sound should. Yes. I'm going to start out with talking about the executive order that was brought up. Basically, the purpose of the order is to prohibit nepotism. And the basis of it is to preserve integrity in government and the hiring process. And I just want it known that in no way am I criticizing the council for not passing the ordinance. I truly believe that each and every one of them feels that the purpose of the ordinance was valid. I think they believe in open government and that the hiring process should be fair and impartial. I think they disagree on the need for the ordinance and whether or not an ordinance would be effective in doing those things. So with that being said, I feel differently, and I felt it was important to start my administration off the right way and to have the right hiring practices. And that's why I issued the executive order the way it's done, the way it's stated. The next topic is bonding. I just want to mention there's several proposals, and I want to request that the council support these bond ordinances. Resolutions, there's several on tonight. The security cameras came up for Veterans Field. I feel it's important that we protect that investment. We spent a lot of money there. It's a beautiful field, and I would like it to stay that way. I also would like to see that that field is open for our residents at least until 10 p.m. and then the gates locked, I guess, open up at whatever hour, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. We also have the phone system lease that's on one of the resolutions, and I feel that's a necessary expenditure. The system we have now is it's outdated and needs to be upgraded. Grants, we have a few. The community development grant, actually two we have for community development. There's 3 different proposals. One is for our senior citizen center, our clerk salary. Also, there's additional money for drainage projects in the 6th district, which is the high school area where it's flood prone. And also the third thing is barrier-free restroom facilities at Veterans Field. The second grant is DOT grant for paving, and that was brought up. Originally, it was supposed to be Cambridge Avenue, and through the engineer, decided that it would be best to go with Caldwell Avenue, felt that we could possibly get obtain that grant going with Caldwell Avenue. Projects, the salt shed was brought up. I just want everyone to know we're still considering alternatives there. I do hope that we make a decision soon, if not on how to do it, maybe a dollar amount that we're willing to spend so we can move forward with that. But I don't believe it's going to happen this year. Veterans Field, the engineer went there along with Councilman Camilleri and Councilman Accomundo and looked at the site, and he's currently drawing up some conceptual drawings, a plan there, and he believes we can get a bathroom facilities and concession stand and come in within the budget. So he's working on that, and I'm glad to say that hopefully we can move forward with that. That probably won't be till the spring. ADA compliant ramps, the plans were submitted by the engineer to Bergen County. We're waiting for approval, and then once we get approval, we can go out to bid on that. And after that's done, then the county will pave the road, but the ramps are reimbursed once we put the money out and the job is complete. We'll be reimbursed through the county. Okay, meetings, the 300th anniversary. We had our first meeting on September 9th. We had over 20 members, and we're currently forming committees there. We're also we're making an emblem, for the events, which should be done shortly. The Flood Committee met on September 16th. Councilman Camilleri and Councilwoman Darminio attended that meeting. Unfortunately, I could not, but they will, I believe, speak about that later when they during their discussion. during their comments. Shared services, we had a meeting on September 24th. The county has involvement in this, in these meetings. There's going to be monthly meetings, and the whole idea is to work together to reduce cost using shared services. So hopefully, some good will come from those meetings. The Mayor's Youth Group met on September 26th. Here, I'm very happy to say that the group is growing. We had several new signups. It was somewhere in the area of 15 new signups, youth, and it's very nice to see that the youth in the town want to do community service and be involved in the events that we do here. Speaking of events, upcoming ones and activities, the senior Halloween party is October 20th at the VFW from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We also are doing, again this year, the Halloween decorating contest. Registration starts on October 1st. For that, Trunk or Treat is on Halloween, October 31st at Long School from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. We're also having a very important event. We're having the Chamber of Commerce Town Hall meeting on October 28th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Marriott. This is something that was done. We're getting more involved, the town is, with the Chamber of Commerce, which is a regional chamber, Hackensack Regional. We're trying to get more companies in town to join, and this is a way for basically the business community can have an opportunity to have a question and answer with the local government officials, and the building inspector will be there, health officer, police chief, and others as well. Councilwoman Mazur and I, Council President Mazur and I will also be there on the panel to answer questions. So we're looking forward to that. Other things, I just want to let the residents know that Public Service will begin replacing gas mains in the area just north of Market Street, Harrison, Catherine, Ackerman, et cetera. We will be having a pre-construction meeting sometime over the next week or two. Residents will be notified prior to the start of the work, and the good thing about this is the roads will be paved upon completion of the gas project. So we should get several roads paved out of this. Also, student council election at the Saddlebrook High School on October 20th. I'm very proud to say that along with the student council election, class representatives for the middle school will also be done, but what's going to happen is the county clerk has agreed to let the school, let us and the school use the actual voting machines. So it's a good time to encourage the students to vote and to use the real machines. I think it's a good thing that they participate in democracy. So that was something that came out of our meetings with the school. We have Councilman Akamondo is a liaison to the school, and we have quarterly meetings. So that was something that came out of it, and other things as well. But I'm very happy about that. We also have a new recycler now, Gata, who also has does our household garbage, is going to do it. Advanced Recycling retired, so Gata is going to finish out until the new contract is awarded, which should be sometime soon. We'll be going out to bid in the near future. Also, we are having an emergency management meeting tomorrow with the impending storm. All emergency services personnel will be attending. I've been asking residents to take the necessary precautions and listen and watch all news media alerts. If necessary, this town will have emergency notifications via the website, saddlebrooknj.us, Facebook, and Saddlebrook Community TV. Also, Nixle email and text alerts, and Swift Reach 911. So we're hoping that it'll miss us. So let's just hope and pray for that. Some things that were brought up by some of the residents. Mr. Rodriguez brought up the parking situation, and we are considering at this time different options and alternatives because, as many of you know, Ed's Tavern was sold, and we're not going to be able to use. They've been very good to us, allowing us to use the parking, and whatever is there, we don't know what the outcome is going to be, if they're going to allow us to use the parking. So we are considering other alternatives. I like Larry's idea about using Veterans Field for the high school game. They already used it once this year, took a lot of grief for it, but I believe, as Larry said, that, we're one town, we should work together, and if that's something that's going to prevent the high school field from getting torn up, and I'm all for it. So we will look into that. The last thing I just want to discuss is department overtime. Mr. Rodriguez brought it up. First of all, I want to say that I'm very, very pleased that with the implementation of the 12-hour shift, our overtime is way, way, way down. I'm talking off the top of my head, but I know that we budgeted close to $200,000, and I don't believe we've spent $35,000 approximately. So we're good. We're very good in that area. Regarding this, what we call reimbursable overtime or contract overtime, when the police officers work out in the street for contractors, and a lot of it's public service now with all these projects they're doing. I am not in favor of limiting the overtime to administrative personnel. I do feel, however, that to pay that kind of money, and Mr. Rodriguez was right about the amount, it's close to that $140. That's a lot of money to be paying a traffic officer. I don't feel that those higher paid officers should be excluded, but I think the best way to go is with a set rate. But it's a contractual issue. There is something that we can do, I believe, and the township attorney may want to weigh in on this, but I do believe that an ordinance could be passed to consider it, instead of overtime, consider it, I guess another term would be extra duty, and to set a rate that's a fair rate. It certainly wouldn't be $140 an hour, but even the lower paying, the officers that are at the bottom rung on the pay scale, they would make that rate too. So let's say we decided to make the rate 75, and I'm just throwing that number out. Even that person on the bottom would make that $75. If the captain who normally gets overtime rate of 140, he would get paid 75. I think it's better overall because when the contractors bid the job, they'll know in advance how much that's going to be, because now we can't tell them that. We have to say it could be anywhere between $30 and $140. So it's hard for them to know how much to bid on. And you know what? My feeling is and I've been on that end as a police deputy chief where I have done the billing. And we do get the questions. I mean, how come this guy is 30 and that guy's 140? It's tough to answer that question. It really is. And it's a little embarrassing, but it's a contractual issue. Unless we can do something, the council could pass an ordinance. Or next year, the police union will be negotiating, and perhaps we can try to get them to agree to going to a set rate. So that's all I have to say, and have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman?
First, I would like to address the mayor's executive order. I would like to say that I'm pleased that the mayor reconsidered his position to include all department heads, along with the elected officials. I'm sorry, I'm not talking into this, which was what we originally intended in our campaign. The mayor's executive order outlines the powers the mayor already has. Therefore, I would like to see it enforced into an ordinance, and I would support that. As an ordinance, it would be a law in town and make it more difficult to rescind or to be revoked by a new mayor without the approval of the governing body. So I would believe it will be brought up again in the future. Regarding the flood meeting on the 16th of September, it was attended by myself, Councilman Camilleri, Pete, Assemblyman Tim Eustace was there. We had representatives from Congressman Pascrell's office and Assemblyman Steve Tonelli's office. It was a very good meeting. Joe's going to discuss a little bit about that when his comments come. What we're looking to do is we have asked the county to help us work on the National Flood Insurance Community Rating System, which once completed will help the residents by reducing their flood insurance premiums. I have a few things I skipped around a little bit. Regarding Omar's comment on the salt shed, we did get the bids back last Friday. The lowest bid was $197,960 without the soft costs. We certainly are not trying to not have a salt shed, but I think we have time to research other avenues, which is what I am in the process of doing. And by no means, and I'm speaking for myself, do we want to stall the project. But we just want to do a little bit more research because that seems like a whole lot of money. I mentioned that I spoke to John Bialy regarding the Caldwell housing. He did say everything is in order and we should know by the second week of October. The mayor mentions all of the only other things that the mayor didn't mention as far as upcoming chicken bingo, October 18th at the senior center. And I just like to mention that our tree lighting is on November 27th, Town Hall, 6 o'clock, followed by our holiday party at the high school. And I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Yep.
Thank you. I just have a few comments. First of all, I just want to reiterate that with the benefit ordinance, I had no part of that. I do not have benefits, and it was before my time. That's the first issue. Secondly, I'd like to acknowledge Marilyn and Joe Nasello for Unico. I think it is a great organization, and I am of Italian descent myself. I'd like to just say a little something for my uncle, who he did pass away. His funeral was today. We put him to rest. Angelo Greco. We called him Uncle Junie. Was a great man, and he will never be forgotten in my heart for everything he's done for me. I'd like to move on to the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I also think that is very important. It's a very good thing to be aware of some of these diseases, and I hope in the near future we could knock them out because, again, it hit me personal. My mom did die of cancer. Moving on, I do want to talk about the flood control meeting. It was a very good meeting. It was very informative. Some of the good things that came out of that, Tim Hustis actually said that the towns now, we don't need a DEP permit to go in there and de-snag and clean our streams, which I think is just a huge thing for every town. If everybody works together, there will definitely be positive things coming of that. The other thing he was talking about is a plan up north to channel some of the river runoff into reservoirs. We could stop a lot of the water from coming south, which floods down south, and then we could build our own reservoirs and actually be self-sustained instead of right now we buy our water from foreign countries. So there was a lot of good things with the flood meeting, and I want to move forward with that along with Councilwoman D'Arminio. We work together. We're going to get a lot accomplished there. I'm also in, Larry brought up a great point. You know, there is a big high school game coming up this weekend, and if rain and that does affect it, I think we have the facility now so they can play on a dry field, and it's an important game. I would like to move on that, you know, to see if we can work something out if it does rain. Again, Larry, I think that was a really good point. Other than that, I'm good for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Sinaluka?
Certainly. I have it written down here, and he didn't give me a chance to say it, but it is Hispanic Heritage Month, which is kind of in between September and October, September 15th to October 15th. So we'd like to acknowledge Hispanic Heritage Month for those, that 31 days. In regard to Unico, I am a proud member of Unico. We will be having this function, rain or shine, on Sunday, so we hope everyone can be there. Everyone look to the southeast and blow, and hopefully this stuff will stick around North Carolina for a couple of days until we could have our function. A couple of things, and my glasses aren't working, so let me look here. Just a little aside that somebody said. Last time I looked, we were in America, and if someone wants to switch parties, which I have no intention of doing, however, when somebody says that no one's going to join a party, under his watch, I don't know what the hell that means, because I don't know what the hell position he's got that he can tell anybody what they want to do or whether they control, he has any power whatsoever to control anybody's will. So welcome to America. People can choose whatever party they want. And I don't want anyone to take it that I am changing parties, but just when I hear stupid statements like that, it just kind of pisses me off. Veterans Field. We've heard for 100 times there's no plans. I don't know what people are listening to or not listening to. There are plans. The peanut gallery is talking in the back, interrupting me. So if that is being caught on tape, I apologize. Some people don't know how to behave in public. There are plans. How could we send it out to bid without plans? There's obviously plans. Those plans were made up. The guesstimate, and I'll say this again, either as somebody once said, you either don't understand or you don't want to understand, or you don't want to accept the answer. However, there are plans. They were ready to go out to bid. The council decided not to send them out to bid. You can't get a bid without plans. We've got a stack of paper, 6 inches, 12 inches high, with plans. Somebody said, and it was just, like I said, a guesstimate. Somebody said, I think it's going to be $1 million. Well, maybe $200,000 of that was because the council decided in our discussions, and we've been discussing this ad nauseum, that we're going to put a second floor, which we didn't consider in the beginning, but it turned out to be, maybe that's a good idea. My position was send it out to bid, but because somebody said it was going to be $1 million, freight took over, people yelling from the back of the room took over, and it wasn't sent out to bid. So right now, do we have plans? Yeah, they're stuffed away in some book. We don't have new plans, and I believe that Tom is going to be working on that. In terms of the weather, yeah, I was very concerned last year that we start on time, and we did get a good 2 months or so in before we hit bad weather. Well, right now, we don't have anything to go to bid. And now we're talking about, before it's reality, December or January. And again, yeah, that's when the weather's going to hit. So last year we were able to get a good 2 months in, and they did a hell of a job getting most of this ready. So much so that when spring sports came, I don't think we might have lost a week. I don't even know if we lost any time. So they did a great job, and we did beat the weather. Delaying this, the weather is going to affect us, and my fear is that the concession stand and the bathrooms will not be ready for next year's football or fall season. So I do think that we have to move on this, yes. If you remember, last year, I asked the auditor, I asked him directly, the zero budget, did it screw the town? Because that's what we're hearing. You had a zero budget. It was an election ploy, and you put us in a bad position. And he said, now, he's not my auditor. He's my auditor now, but if you want to talk about parties, he wasn't my party's auditor. He's the auditor that was brought in by the new administration. And he said, no, you were left in good, sound financial position. Now, I believe that the only taxes that were increased, other than there was some tax increase due to ratables going down, but the only tax increase from the town, I think this year, was something in $30 a household. So my question is, if the zero budget was such a election ploy, how is it that $30? Did that $30 mean that? What's the difference? It's $30 a household, but that's okay, and everything is running fine now. But the zero budget was a ploy. No, it was a perfect storm last year of getting insurance premiums going down, We got some grants, and we're able to do it. And I'm sure that if the same situation arose, this council, which is definitely a different political makeup, would make that same decision. You don't raise taxes just for the sake of raising taxes. If we can save the taxpayers money, that's what we do. Now, in regard to my relationship with Mr. Costa, again, this is stuff that's been going on. It's just the same stuff all the time. He looked at something from May of 2012. It took him 5 months to find it. But if he would have looked a little deeper and saw that the day that Mr. Costa was hired, that he was appointed on January 1st, 2011, on that date, when the vote came to hire him or for advising consent, when the consent was requested of the council, I abstained and I said, I can't vote on that because I had a prior business relationship with Mr. Costa, meaning I've represented him in the past, and there's some times where I'm not representing him. But at that time, I stated it. And I abstained on every single vote for any dollar amount to him for 5 years. So all it took was to, if you're going to look at tapes, go back to January 1st, 2011, not May of 2012, January 1st, 2011. And every vote since then, I'm sure that he submitted bills that, bills almost every month. I'm assuming that we got bills, and there was never a bill that I voted on. So it was disclosed early on, and I really don't like the insinuation that there was something more to me and my relationship with Mr. Costa during his term as our engineer. In terms of, there was a committee, and I was happy that the mayor did appoint me to the Access for All Committee. I got a list of the 10 or 12 members. Christine? Yes. Christine sent it to me. Some of them had emails, some of them didn't, so I've contacted everyone. I think I've got emails except for one person. Once I get everyone on board with the emails, my plan is to send a letter out, organize a meeting, and maybe call in Freeholder DiNicola to come in, who's really spearheading that on a county level, so this way we can get going on that. One thing that I wanted to just ask the mayor, the electric billboard that I asked about last meeting. My understanding initially was that the chief was going to go to some convention or conference or something like that, but I thought he was going to report back to us or tell us what it was. But I think that it's already been purchased, and it's one-sided. I thought it was going to be two-sided. I know you had contacted me and said that was a mistake. So it is a one-sided billboard.
Yes.
But okay, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't know what was available, because listen, we're going over salt sheds, we're going over roofs, we're going over all this stuff, bathrooms, how big the toilet is, what size urinal. But I think that that's something that maybe the council should have had an opportunity to look at and see, if there's 3 different kinds, which one we would like to do. So that's just a comment on that. But it's great that we're getting one, but I just wish that we had a little more input into what it was that we were getting. Ms. Darminio mentioned she talked to Mr. Bialy. I did actually on the way here, because I said, I think someone's going to ask about that housing. So I called John, and exactly what Karen had said. They're looking to get an answer within the first 2 weeks of October. And hopefully that'll happen. And he thinks it's that quick because he just got approval from that financing agency on a veterans home that he's building. I think it's in Emerson, someplace in Bergen County. So I think we may have been next on the list. There might have been something in Edgewater, but we're right there. On the issue with the nepotism, now, I appreciate the mayor, and I said this Tuesday night. The executive order is exactly the ordinance that I had proposed. So I appreciate that being done by the mayor, because I guess you can say something is better than nothing. My reasoning for pushing it and having a council vote on it and putting it in ordinance form is this. An executive order is in place and it's valid. The mayor in our form of government is the chief. He runs the town. So what he says goes, and he put it in the form of an executive order. But as a mayor changes, a mayor can rescind that order, and this mayor can rescind his own order. So if something happened and the order was rescinded on a Tuesday, somebody's son or daughter could be hired on a Wednesday. With an ordinance, there is a public meeting, there's public comment, it's published. There are all those protections. Also, in an ordinance form, it's part of our code. It's part of the law of Saddlebrook. And if somebody wanted to know what our position is, what our employee handbook or what our personnel policy would be, they could look at our code and see it. With an executive order, they can't do that. Again, with the ordinance, there's going to be a first reading, comment, second reading, comment, publication, and it will be well discussed. So although I appreciate the mayor for doing it, and I commend him for doing that because it's exactly what I wanted done, however, I believe that it's the council's duty and responsibility to deal with legislative issues. This is a legislative issue, and Mr. Accomando's not here, so I'm not putting it on the agenda, and I haven't asked to have it be put on the agenda. But I will be bringing it up at the November meeting and ask that it be put on the agenda, and I think that the council should be able to vote for it. If it's voted on, I'm certainly hoping that it would be voted on and approved. If not, then that's the council's wishes, but I'd like it to be the law of this town as opposed to being in the form of an executive order. But again, I commend the mayor for doing what he did. And lastly, again, for the umpteenth time on these benefits, there's one or two people that are coming up here constantly talking about the benefit issue. And the same thing, bringing up stuff that happened 2, 3, 4 years ago. Move on. Before the last election, which is 3 years ago, there were 2 people who ran that would be able to continue receiving health benefits if they won. Those 2 people were elected. It was me and Ms. Mazur. To some people, it's a big issue, and I guess, being that we were elected, to most other people, it was not a big issue. It's done, again, for the 100th time. If you want to go back to the 50s and find an ordinance that said the council gets health benefits, it's not there. No one ever said it was there. No one ever said it was there. The ordinance that was amended was the proposed ordinance that was part of the petition. That's how it was done. There was Labor Council that was here who made the opinion, and please stop talking because you're interrupting my train of thought, okay? Just act like a human being, act like a responsible adult. We had Labor Council here who, again, Ms. Mazur, can you please do something about this? We had Labor Council here who gave his opinion that had that petition passed, had that ordinance not been amended by that sitting council, it would have had an adverse effect on people who did get the benefits, retirees, and would most likely lead to extensive litigation, which we were likely to lose. So that being said, hopefully this is the last time we get to talk about benefits. I know that there is an agenda. I'm running next year. There's no doubt that I'm running. And certain people that come up here have opinions and they have agendas, and that is to have me not elected. And I understand that. That's your job. But my job is to work for the Township of Saddlebrook. I think I do a good job. And I'm hoping that the people here will reelect me and not be I'm not a one-issue pony. And lastly, let's go Mets. Let's get to the World Series.
Thank you, Andrew. My colleagues did a great job, and the mayor, of answering all the questions and concerns. I'm just going to be real brief. I'm just regarding what Mr. Rodriguez said about he insinuated that we're holding up some of the projects, specifically the salt shed, and he would like to see the bathrooms done, differently. Or the reality of it is that quite a few of us up here are in the private sector, and we see numbers coming in on the projects that, specifically one that I, know firsthand would be a salt shed. when we see numbers come in and they're so different than what, I personally know to be fact for almost the same size. So we're gonna scrutinize, and we're going to visit every avenue that we can. Again, being in the private sector, like quite a few of us are, there are different things to consider in the public sector. So we take that into effect, but the reality is, sometimes it's a lot more money. If it was up to me, we would do everything. We would volunteer. I would have all the volunteers between the plumbing, the bathrooms, the salt shed, even the cameras done. But the law requires that we follow a certain criteria, and we can't. I wish we could. Having said that, we're always looking out for the taxpayers one way or the other. And having said that, no other comments? Okay. Let's hope for a great Sunday for the Unico Fair also. Thank you.
Council President, can I just say just a couple of things?
Oh, sure.
Mr. Stoneluca, just regarding the sign board, I just want to let you know that, and I'm sure you're aware, that was purchased through DWI funds, and it was, the board that was purchased was under state contract. So the chief of police handled the purchase of it and submitted all the paperwork to us. As far as I know, the PO went out, so we should be getting it shortly. I myself have not called. I asked the business administrator to look into it. I don't know where we're at with that, but I was hoping we were going to have it for this Unico Street Fair. It would have been nice. But anytime I ask for input, if there's something that you want from purchase, or anything we do, you should, and as well as the other council members, have your say as to what we should or shouldn't purchase, especially when it comes to purchasing and spending money. The other thing I wanted to say was regarding the nepotism ordinance. I personally feel it just got to a point where I think the discussion was starting to turn a bit negative amongst the council members. And I just think it was causing some divisiveness. And I didn't like to see that. And you know what? I guess sometimes you got to know when you're beat. You know what I mean? In my case, I don't vote. So I have 5 council people here, very good, capable council people, and they all have, they can make up their minds and make a decision. I might not always agree with their decision, but I have to respect it. So, and that's where I was at with it. I just felt that we weren't going to get this thing through. It just wasn't going to happen. So, that's why I decided not to keep pushing it. That was where I stood on it. So, but I am very happy, and I would be happy if an ordinance was passed, the one that you had submitted, and the one that we voted on and said yes first, and then it didn't pass on the second vote. So I would be pleased with that. But again, I don't know if I want to rehash it. I don't want to be the person that keeps pushing and pushing people that have a different opinion of mine. So that's where I'm at with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we go on to the ordinances, I just want to mention that in the next couple of meetings coming up, and actually probably quite a few meetings coming up, you'll notice that some of these ordinances, we're revisiting them, we're amending them, and because some of them go way back. So we'll be bringing them up to date, specifically the one that's on for the first reading today for the tax caps. Thank you. We'll move on.
First reading, ordinance number 1604-15, an ordinance amending the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, Chapter 189, entitled Taxi Cabs, Livery Services, for first reading.
A motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka? Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeArminio.
Yes.
Council President Mazur.
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance amending the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, Chapter 189, entitled Taxi Cabs Livery Services, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on November 5th, 2015, at 7 o'clock p.m., or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeArminio?
Yes.
Council President Mazur.
Yes.
Ordinance 2 on the agenda is ordinance 1605-15. It's a bond ordinance providing for flood mitigation improvements, including the acquisition of properties in the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, appropriating $850,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $809,523 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof. There are state and county grants that will be applied to this ordinance.
Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeArminio?
Yes.
Council President Mazur.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that bond ordinance providing for flood mitigation improvements, including the acquisition of properties in the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, appropriating $850,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $809,523 bonds or notes, finance part of the cost thereof, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on November 5th, 2015, at 7 o'clock p.m., or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeArminio?
Yes.
Council President Mazur. Ordinance 3 for first reading is ordinance number 1606-15. It's a bond ordinance providing for various 2015 general capital improvements by and in the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, appropriating $760,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $594,405 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof for first reading.
Motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeArminio?
Yes.
And Council President Mazur.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that a bond ordinance providing for various 2015 general capital improvements by and in the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, appropriating $760,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $594,405 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on November 5th, 2015, at 7 o'clock p.m., or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeArminio?
Yes.
Council President Mazur.
Yes.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requests it, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of the minutes and applications. The minutes will not be part of the consent agenda, and resolution number 11 will be voted on separately. As mentioned earlier, upon the advice of the engineer, we had discussed Cambridge Avenue, but in Tom's opinion, you felt Caldwell Avenue might be a better choice for the DOT grant.
Yes, there's actually another reason for that. Cambridge Avenue has a transite water main, and we've been replacing those because they don't last. Those are the ones you always have trouble with. The water main in Caldwell is an iron water main, so we're not gonna have to replace it. If we got the money for Cambridge, but didn't come up with money to do the water main, we'd have a problem because we'd have new pavement on an old pipe. So we just felt it was a safer investment to go to a road that we don't have to put the water main in.
I have a motion on the resolutions.
For consent.
Motion
Motion for consent agenda.
for the
I'll make a motion. Motion for approval.
second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman DiArminio? This is for the consent agenda.
Yes.
Council President Mays.
Yes.
We have the minutes of the September 3rd, 2015 public meeting.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman DiArminio?
I abstain.
And Council President Mays.
Yes.
We have the payment of the bills, resolution number 11.
Do I have a motion? Motion? Oh,
I'll make the motion.
Second.
roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Abstain.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman DiArminio?
Yes.
Council President Mays.
Yes.
Under new business, if the council wishes to take action, and we started this for this meeting, where items we discussed Tuesday, and council requested additional information, will be listed under new business, and the council, if it wishes, can take any action. So we have the security system.
Security system
I make a motion.
to accept the
To accept
proposal.
The
the-
10.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
I just have a comment. I had asked to be provided with other quotes or bids on this. I don't think it actually went out for an RFQ or a proposal, RFP. But I did get something back from at least one company, which was significantly higher. The only reason that I'm hesitating just a bit is we talked about it briefly on Tuesday, but this is a wired system, and it seems like everything nowadays is wireless. And I'm just wondering, I think we got again, a guesstimate as to what the wireless system would cost. And I was hoping that we can get something a little more solid as to what the wireless would cost, so this way we can compare apples to apples. Right now, I mean, it seems like a tremendously good price for what they came in and gave a presentation for what we're getting. However, we've got to see, we got some numbers here, and if they're outrageous, obviously we'd have to turn them down. But I was hoping that we would get something more solid, so this way we can compare. If this is 10,000, I can't read it, 10.5, something like that, and the wireless came in at 15, that's one thing. But if they actually came in and did their evaluation, said, oh no, it's gonna be $25,000, it may not fit in our budget. So that's the only hesitation that I have to vote on this. It's not that I don't want this done, I definitely want it done, because I think this will help secure the field, and also, as we talked on Tuesday, there will be people walking around the track. The way we've developed this is so that there is a walking route, and it gets kind of dark toward the north end by the railroad tracks. This way we'd have it under constant surveillance, and it would be taped. So this way, God forbid something bad happens, we would be able to go back and look at it. But I just wanted something a
Andrew.
little more concrete with the wireless.
Andrew, if you,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, you came in a little late after her presentation, but she did say would be significantly higher, like $20,000 to $25,000. She did throw those numbers around.
Yeah, I know, but again, she threw it down, but it's not in writing. It's something I think she pulled, it was out of her head, and that's what her job
I
is.
actually do have it. I
Oh, you
do
do?
have it in writing. 22.5 was
22.5.
for the wireless. They submitted it both ways.
Through the chair.
Yes.
As you know, my husband's security director at BCUA.
No.
And in asking him about wireless versus hardwire, of which they have both at the facility, in his experience, he likes the hardwire. He prefers the hardwire because when the wireless goes down, you got to reboot the whole system. So, for what that's worth. But
Well, it's worth a lot. I mean, that's his business, that's another person, and I respect his opinion. I will vote yes.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeArminio.
yes.
Council President Mazur.
Yes.
Next item under new business, as discussed Tuesday night, we were trying to get our contractor for the Fifth Street Water Main project on board and to give us a start date. I did meet with them on Tuesday. They were to get back to me today. I know that we had the council meeting this evening. I have not heard from them. It's our recommendation, reluctantly, that we cancel the contract with John Garcia Construction and go out and rebid. Evidently, he's unable to start the project or wishes to go ahead with the project.
Okay. So you
We have
need
a resolution.
resolution, so you need a motion.
Motion to pass that resolution, which would cancel the contract with Garcia
Yep.
Construction.
Second.
Second, roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeArminio?
Yes.
Council President Mazur.
Yes. So for business.
One last item on new business. It's just, we have the best practices, and the state requires that we discuss this at a public meeting. We've been doing this for the last few years under the state's recommendation. The first year was voluntary. Each year now, the state issues 50 questions, particularly financial policies and procedures. Some involve employee contracts. And if you do not score 80 or above 80%, the state can and does withhold 5% of your state aid in the last quarter. So I'm happy to say that the township scored a 94. Every year we've been going up 1 or 2 points. So it's something we could be proud of, and that will be submitted to the state next week.
Great, congratulations.
Just like, yes, congratulate the administration, because 94% is an A in my book, so kudos.
We're going for A+.
I'd like to ask for a motion to open the meeting to the public on agenda items.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? The meeting's now open to the public for agenda items. Anyone wishing to be heard? No? I see no one. Motion close.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So any other comments before we close?
I do, because I didn't acknowledge the Italian Heritage and Culture Month for October. And if my husband sees this meeting, he'll be really angry. He's been a member of Unico for the past 35 years. Both his uncle and cousin Rick were past national presidents, so I just wanted to. And also, I want to thank the mayor for the proclamation to acknowledge the National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's huge, so thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
That's all.
Any other comments? No?
I just have one quick one. With the upcoming storms, if we do get hit, everybody, just please stay safe. I live in the flood zone. I don't want to see it come. Let's pray for the best. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, with that, motion close?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone. Stay safe.